Hey everybody, welcome to InPsightRadio. I am your host, Danielle Egnew, and you are a fly on the wall to everywhere. How are you doing? How are you? Have you been coping pretty well? I think you have been, because I have faith in us as a collective. I have faith in our humanness that we're going to pull through these transitional times. Everybody's coming together. We are working as hard as we can to get rid of the pandemic. Everybody's wearing their masks. Not everybody, but do you like my uplifting attitude towards that? I do, because we could be negative all day long, but that's really not going to solve anything. So, keep doing our part, gang. We are working hard to get this pandemic in the rearview mirror. And with this many deaths in the country, let alone the world, this has been a pretty sobering time frame. It just has been. And it's really drawn a lot of focus, I think, for many of us to our daily lives. And some of the things that we've evaluated in our daily life, especially during this COVID time frame, has been health, has been mental health, mental wellness, has been body health. I mean, I know I put on my COVID 12 pounds like everybody. I was a champion with it. And, the other thing too is the wellness with finances. A lot of people struggled dramatically through this COVID timeframe and are still struggling. There are some people who have really, really excelled and put money in their pockets, and they were able through grants and loans and able to be working part-time or continue working full-time. They've been able to keep going. And there's a lot of people who had their life savings used up because maybe they didn't get their stimulus payments. Maybe they had to do something with their rent. Maybe they needed to get somehow forward financially, and the PPP loans or the stimulus or their job, none of that was there. And so people have been encountering incredible difficulties during this year and a half of COVID timeframe. And I'm saying half because we still have 2021 to go, and we're still going to go a ways. So today's podcast is all about mind, body, spirit, financial wellness, and what the heck that even means from a female perspective. Now, gentlemen, I want you to listen in on this podcast. If you're listening, don't you be turning this off just because you have a Y chromosome. Come on now. You listen in on this because I have a very special guest that is here in the studio with me, and she and I are going to discuss what it is to get out of that limitation and lack consciousness, especially as we've dealt with this in COVID and had to look at a lot of our life. And again, I'm looking at this from a female perspective right now. Yet, gentlemen, if you have a female partner or any female that you care about in your life, you're going to want to listen to this podcast, because women see finances differently than men do. And especially as somebody who does my job, I have made myself inadvertently into a marriage counselor during these psychic sessions, because I'm on the other end of a male and a female who are married, who are not seeing eye to eye financially. And it's spiritual issues, it's sociological issues. So without further ado, let me introduce to you my very special guest today. I'm thrilled to have her in the studio. She is an exceptionally accomplished wellness professional, fitness professional. She has her own intuitive wellness counseling service, and she has branched out into online fitness training with a mind, body, spirit focus. Small group training, it's actually all of her own design, using lots of different mechanisms that have been in existence, but combining them in a certain way that is very unique. And she's also a non-traditional nutrition guru. And that's somebody who's not necessarily leaning on the food pyramid. So let me introduce to you today the owner and founder of Kinesi Wellness Studio, Rebecca Douglas.
Hey, hi.
Hi, Rebecca. And many of you will say, wait a minute, isn't that your wife? And yes, Rebecca also happens to be my wife.
Guilty.
Yes.
Yeah.
So today I put Rebecca in the hot seat, and she's gracious enough to do this because Rebecca and I view prosperity in the same way, yet we can tend to view the flow of money or finances very differently. And it's wildly because we had different upbringings. So before we get started into the more gender perspective issue here, Rebecca, tell everybody a little bit about how you grew up and what forged your identity around how you perceive money.
Oh boy. All right. So sit back, grab a drink. So I grew up in a family of, mom, dad, and three siblings and three children. Dad was the only breadwinner, just a teacher, and our family of five lived on his meager salary. And my mom stayed at home, and she did a few part-time jobs here and there, but it was mainly for her own, spending money, I guess, from what I understood. But money was always a contentious issue and forbidden issue in our household. We never talked about it, but they always fought about it. And that was like my main childhood memories is fighting about dad spending too much money, mom freaking out about it. And they both came from very different financial beliefs about money and working together with money, or how do we all chip in together to help with the money, and all of that. There was radically different belief systems there from their own families. And it was never, ever talked about with the kids. It was literally taboo.
So money was taboo.
It was very taboo. I grew up feeling like it was very much a something that causes anger and fights and turmoil. And it was never abundant. It was always lacking. It was always very scarcity, poverty mindset. I mean, I grew up going to Goodwills and thrift stores for most everything that I wore. I grew up learning how to take old clothes and make them new again, which from an artistic standpoint, I kind of love that now.
And we're going to talk a little bit about how that actually is benefiting you now in your life later.
Yeah. But it was extreme. It was very, there was nothing joyful about money. It was hidden and secret, and it was like the devil in the room that we all kind of skirted around.
Ew. Okay, so obviously your family did not look at finances as money being an energy. It sounds like they thought it was a thing or a demon or a dividing tool.
A dividing tool for sure. And never, I mean, the idea of money being energy, I don't even think ever crossed my parents' minds at all.
And what state is this taking place in again?
It's in Missouri.
Missouri.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is fairly traditional, if I'm not to be mistaken. I mean, we took a road trip down to Missouri, and it fascinated me because this road trip in Missouri, I mean, you'd be driving along, and I mean, they talk about the Bible Belt, and being a northerner, I'd never been to an area of the country like that, and it's very culturally fascinating.
It's fascinating, yes.
Because there's elements of that's the border of the South. That's like the north border of the American South.
So the St. Louis, Kansas City line where I-70 runs was literally the Mason-Dixon line. So north of I-70, you were a northerner. South of I-70, you were a slave owner.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's me. I'm growing up in Montana, the big, wide open maverick state, and people assume Montana at this point is this big, heavy red state in our polarized political climate. Yeah, that's not exactly true, even if you live here. When I was growing up, it was more like, do what you want. Just don't hurt other people. Be a good neighbor. Don't take my land or my cattle or my gun. And if you're a decent human being and you're not victimizing anybody, I don't care who you vote for. I don't care what you believe. I don't care how much money you have. It's what kind of person are you? Yeah. So that was the culture I grew up in.
Yeah, and I love that about Montana. Everybody thought it was crazy to move to what the Midwest, what Missouri thought was even a more conservative state than Missouri. And I actually really love everything you just said about Montana.
Yeah, and it's so true. And you and I relate so much in that area. So for me, and just briefly, because this is mostly about your take on all of this, for me, I was raised, my mom My parents got divorced when I was 7, and my mom and I came back here, and my dad stayed out in Tacoma, and I would go visit him for holidays. We moved in with my grandparents, which to me, I mean, I super miss my dad, but at the same time, I got to live with my Italian grandparents. I thought I won the freaking lottery of life, okay? And we had a great big garden in the backyard, and Grandma would have me. I didn't realize we grew up eating organic.
You grew up eating just real food.
I did. Right? It's weird.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was my grandparents didn't, my grandpa had his own business, but it kind of got yanked out from underneath of him. That's a long story. But they had, we were basically living on my grandparents' salary. And my dad, of course, was sending some support and whatnot, but he wasn't made of money. And he was very equitable. He wasn't one of those ex-husbands who are like, I'm going to starve you out. He was helping as much as he could. So we were pretty much, I would guess, by today's standards, by then we were middle class. By today's standards, we would have been lower middle class. And we didn't have any money. I didn't know that because Grandma made me all my clothes. I just thought I was a rock star because I had all these original Grandma Pinky clothes, right? That's what my grandma's nickname was Pinky. So they didn't talk about money, but it was never a bad thing. I didn't know we never had much of it because every day Grandma and Grandpa would take me out. I used to skip school a lot, and they'd let me, which was terrible. But did I say that at the podcast? Oh, but we would end up going to like a Kmart or a Kresge's, which was a dime store, or something, and we would have breakfast. And Grandpa would buy breakfast every day, and we might go to get a burger in a drive-through, and it was not ever talked about that we didn't have money. I thought we were loaded. Grandpa had a garage full of wood. He built me all my toys. I thought we had tons of money, but it was the way my grandparents acted. Mm-hmm. And my mom always looked like $1 million. She always looked sharp, So I never once, even my grandparents, like I'd see my grandma doing the bills, and she'd be at her little desk, and I'd say, "What are you doing, Grandma?" And she says, "I'm doing the bills." Did you ever watch your mom do the bills?
No, never. Dad always did. And as far as I could tell, but again, it was very much in secret. We just didn't do it. I mean, I remember asking my dad how to, I think I saw him doing a check register, balancing his, writing things down in a check register, and asked him about it, and he wouldn't talk to me about it.
Oh my goodness.
I know. You don't talk about money.
Oh my gosh. My grandma, conversely, she was doing things. I said, "Grandma, what are you doing?" She says, "Oh, this is a check register." She said, "And see, this is where you put the things and you subtract all the things." And I just remember, I don't know how much she had in anymore, but it just looked like a huge number to me. I said, "Grandma, do you have all that money?" And she kind of giggled. So it must have not been as much as it looked like when you're 8. Mm-hmm. And she said, "We sure do, pal. We have all that money." I said, "Wow, Grandma, we're rich." And she says, "Well, we sure are rich of heart, pal." But it wasn't like, she didn't correct me and say, "No, we're poor," and all this. So the reason that I took this time in the podcast to set up your background is because I want to talk to you, and I'm going to hit you with some big questions here for the sake of time.
Oh, boy. All right.
You got this. You got this. Because I have noticed that women deal with finances very differently than men. They take on different shame issues. They look at it very differently, and they tend to be disempowered through it. Whereas men take on shame issues for totally different reasons with money. Yet women will just like crumble to the bottom of getting stuck in the weeds of trying to navigate through a business plan, and then they'll just rot on the bottom of the aquarium. We'll just freak out, in the mud down there going, "Why can't I figure this out?"
Yeah.
So you are obviously a wellness coach. You are an intuitive nutrition and fitness coach and wellness coach. Have you seen a correlation between the way that, and I'll say women specifically, but probably men too, deal with financial stress and how it affects their body? Have you seen that in your field?
Yes. So over the years of really of talking, especially one-on-one with my female clients, and that's who I coach with, mostly are females. I understand their language. I understand where they're coming from, what their struggles are, so I can really get in with them to really kind of help them figure out their path and where they want to go with their health and wellness. So 100% female perspective here. Yes, to your question. there is a big correlation, I feel like, with financial stress and how a female holds, certain females hold their weight in their body. And it took me a long time to actually feel or see that correlation. I mean, I've been doing this for 11 years now, and the more I do it, the more I get a little bit more in tune with why women hold body fat in certain areas. And there is definitely a correlation with financial and money stresses to where body fat is held, or how quickly body fat is released from the body during wellness and diet and nutrition and fitness.
So it is a thing.
I believe that, yes.
Okay, and you've been doing this, 11 years
11
now?
years, yeah.
Say I walk into your studio, you've never met me before, and you are also a huge empath, you're a massive intuitive, and I walk into your studio, can you look at me and pretty much because of where I'm putting my weight on, can you into, as well as the knowledge that you've put together over the years, watching women hold stress because of finances, can you tell what my story is?
That's kind of a loaded question. I'm not a psychic.
I don't know about that. Whatever.
I cannot see into the depths of their soul right off the bat. Let's say Jane walks into the studio, and I've talked to her once or twice on the phone about our program, and she's finally, taken that big brave step to actually come into the studio and start working with me. And so I know maybe Jane and I, after a few conversations over the phone, that money might be a bit of a stretch for her, and to find the value in investing in herself and in her health is actually a huge stretch for her because of X, Y, and Z, what's going on. And so I know off the bat maybe that this woman might be a little strapped for cash, but she's figuring it out, and she's shifted something in her budgets to make it happen, to spend a few months with us and invest in her own health so she can get back to feeling better. So in that case, the first time I meet her in person, I already have a little bit of a background. And then working with her physically and watching her, what's the word I'm looking for? Her reactions to the workout and how her mindset about how she's doing in her first couple of workouts, I can get a deeper picture of what her mindset is. And does she have a I can't attitude? Does she have a I'm here for me and I'm going to just make it happen attitude? Does she have a quitting attitude, or does she have a everything's figure outable attitude?
Okay, I'm going to put a pin on that right there, and I'm going to call baloney just on one aspect of your story. Okay. I have been in public places with you.
But you asked if I know right off the bat. I have to sit down. I have to be in their presence for a little bit to get a feel for it.
Okay.
And if they are open to being talked with and coached, that means they're a little bit more of an open door, and yes, I can get a little bit more into them. But some people aren't always like that.
That's true. Now, I'm going to out you to the whole world right now. I have been in a public, welcome to my crib. It's very messy in here. I need to clean it up. This is a messy crib. I'll tell you, I've been in public places with you, and my wife loves to people watch.
Yes, I do.
It is almost unnerving how much you people watch. Mm-hmm. Like I'll say to you sometimes, stop staring. And you say, I'm not staring. I'm like, no, you're boring holes through somebody's back. You're like, I'm really not. I'm just looking at them. I'm like, okay, 007. And I have literally sat across from you, and you might have glanced at somebody and your face will change. Like you look sad, or you look bummed out, or you look like you, as an empath, were hit with something really heavy because someone you've never met, never talked to, never opened your mouth to, walks by. And I'll say, what is wrong? And you will say, that woman is so unhappy in that marriage. That woman is stress eating. That woman is not paying her bills. That woman is, and you will boom, 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 and you'll just spit it right out. So, yes, you do that.
Okay, sometimes. I was answering your specific question about somebody coming into the studio.
And I think that you do that with your clients. And so the point being money in the body.
Yes.
Money in the body. Okay.
So what I was going to clarify is it's different people watching in like a public setting, like an airport, which is my favorite place, or a restaurant, yes, where people their guards are down. They don't know I'm people watching, okay? So I think there's an easier, quote unquote, access to kind of a surface level of what's going on with them, as opposed to someone who comes into my studio who is scared to death. They've got walls up because they assume they're going to be judged for where they are in their life or how they look. They're afraid to death because they can't move the way they feel like they should move. So there's walls there, energetic walls. And so I have to kind of gently break those walls down before I can get into them like I would at a public place where someone is not aware that I'm actually doing my thing.
That you're empathically voyeurizing them. Those are just my words.
Damn, that sounds scary.
You are not scary, but it's part of your empath gift. You are actually a very respectful person. Yes. You don't breach people's borders. So in terms of finances and money, so we've talked about body reading, we've talked about energies and communicating. You were obviously not supported in the area of financial wellness. We've talked about the fact that being financially wiggly can affect women in terms of stress, holding weight in different ways and whatnot. And, somebody might be listening to this podcast and thinking, okay, well, whatever. I mean, you have an 11-year-long, very successful brick and mortar. You've done a podcast, you've developed your own exercise program, you have a subscription system, like you seem to be fine. Was it always so easy for you to believe that there was income right there for you if you just put something creative out there?
No, it's never been easy. None of this has ever been easy. I work my butt off for it. And
let's talk about the work your butt off part, because I think for women, women don't understand. Women have a very deep fear of success in business. We don't think we do, but I have tons of clients who we want to do well, but what we're afraid of is we'll do well once and we won't be able to do it again.
Yeah, that's valid. I get that. Maybe we got a lucky streak or something. We just hit it lucky. Also, I think I'm gonna call some of us out here. I think some of us we're afraid of hard work. We are socialized to be supported, not socialized to work our asses off and make it happen for ourselves.
And we are also, as women, if we do go to do it, we're socialized that somebody's going to support you. And even though we've stepped away from that model culturally more so in the last maybe 30, 40 years, it's still in our genetics.
It is, yes.
That somebody's going to come along and they'll take care of it. And, you can't handle it. You can't handle anything. Yeah. My parents always empowered the dickens out of me. Anything I wanted to do, they're like, let's help you out. Did your folks ever lay down a model for you? Like, you'd be a great business person or a great strategist. Did you ever get those talks?
No, I got the talk of you're going to be a school teacher because it's stable and you should probably think about getting married because someone will support you.
Well, that's a buzzkill.
Yeah. I lasted half a semester in teaching school.
Oh my God.
I'm like, screw this.
I could just see you over there.
Sorry, Dad. Sorry. I love our teachers. If you are meant to do that job, you guys are so underpaid, it's ridiculous.
Oh, amen. My mom's a teacher.
I know. Teacher. My dad's a teacher. God bless our teachers. We need more of them. We need more of the good ones. It's just not for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but the ironic thing is you are a teacher, honey. You teach in different ways.
Yeah. You're right. I do teach. And I love that kind of teaching.
What kind?
Well, the coaching teaching, and I love empowering women and showing them where their true physical and energetic and mental strengths lie so that they can start taking control of who they are and remembering who they are before they became mothers and wives and business people or employees or whatever. I mean, we are fantastic beings, but with sociological layer after layer after layer being laid upon us saying you've got to be this or you have to marry this or you have to have this or whatever, we forget who we are. And so teaching a woman how to tap into that internal strength and power, I love that. Love it.
Yeah, it's a huge passion of yours.
Yeah,
and
just a little bit.
You do. just the tiniest bit. And I have watched over the years you get really comfortable with this. Now, the reason I brought you on as a guest is because, of course, I know your background. Mm-hmm. I know where you came from. Mm-hmm. And I think it would be helpful because, again, we're talking about how women view finances and money. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I've happened upon in my spiritual work is I get to see energy blueprints of human beings and why they do what they do. And there is a complete difference between the socialized gender roles in America with how women deal with finances and men. Both women and men in America struggle under shame models for different reasons. Men are shamed if they don't make enough and they don't push for enough. Women are shamed if they try to go out and start a business and they make a mistake. Women are shamed for mistakes. Men are shamed for lack.
I have been shamed, I guess, or bullied or made fun of, or from my fellow women, some of which who used to work for me, for just the gall of my idea of I have a business and I want to make money at it.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, isn't it?
I've had to get rid of female employees who thought I was crazy to charge X, Y, and Z for a specific program because I was deemed from this other female that I was being selfish and money grubbing.
Right, because women, it's true. It's nuts. Women ladies, we are raised to make sure that we are okay remaining, and it's messed up. We're not supposed to ask for what we want, right. Women. Mm-hmm. We're not supposed to go to a job interview and say, I'm worth $150,000 a year. Because women, we are afraid that we are going to make a mistake, that we're going to be seen as a mistake. We are afraid because, ladies, let's face it, we have to try 3 times as hard to do the same job as our male counterparts because of gender roles that we're casting off. And now there's many, many wonderful men out there who don't subscribe to this modality, and they're like, that's stupid. Let's hire great people. So fellas, I'm not talking to you. But ladies, we absolutely struggle with asking for what we're worth.
Yeah.
I remember those employees
looking
at you and saying, Rebecca, why would you charge? Nobody's going to come and pay that. And I'm thinking, you have like 200 clients. Who are these people who are not paying this? And it was this fear. Mm-hmm. Ladies, we deeply fear that if we assign too much value to us, we won't actually be worth that value and we'll be cast out. It is so gross. Men, you guys are trained. God bless you. You reach around and pat yourself on the back. You are trained generally. Now, there's all kinds of gentlemen out there who have different sociological backgrounds, but we're talking about archetypal American formats here. Men, you are raised to get out there and you push for even more than you're worth. And if you get more than you're actually worth, then you're a stud. Ladies, if you get more than you're actually worth, then you're using people.
Or you're money grubbing, or we're selfish. Or,
it's nuts. You see where this gets now imagine a man and a wife and discussions on money with these different ways of looking at it. Women, we can get really desperate and panic. Have you ever, Rebecca, have you ever had complete, and this is kind of an exposing question, but I think you can hack it. You're a Taurus. You can go there. Have you ever had those moments of desperation around finances where either you've made awful decisions or it has crippled your business practice or you've just collapsed under desperation, under a fear of a lack of money?
100% on all of those. Check, check, and check.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Do you have any examples you'd be comfortable sharing?
Oh boy. Let's see. Well, I will just start with when I went out on my own, and I ended up homeless twice. And
now, when you say out on your own, from home, like you left home,
out of college and changing careers and moving to a different state. all at the same time.
Oh my God.
Basically,
Jeez.
in the middle of one of the worst winters ever.
Oh my Lord.
So I ended up, homeless for a month, living in my car, eating gummy bears and the dollar menu from McDonald's, going, what in the ever-living hell how did this happen?
Oh my God.
So that happened. But it got me to another phase of life where it catapulted me into getting my daughter. Long story. I won't go there, but that happened. Then changing careers and relationship and states again, and ended up again homeless and living in my first fitness studio on an air mattress in the back office and working 18-hour days, and again making decisions of do I put gas in my car or do I put food on my table? I mean, there's those financial, like, oh my God, what just happened?
In that moment, did you feel like a failure or did you feel like a success? Because you're on an air mattress in your own studio, which was a dream that you built from the ground up. Mm-hmm. Did you feel like a failure or a success in that moment?
Neither, honestly. I didn't feel like I failed. I had a few moments of like, this better work. God help me if it doesn't. But I always kept telling myself I could always go work at Target or McDonald's if this doesn't work. So I had more of the attitude of figure it out or do something else. Not like, oh, I'm a failure because of this.
Did you feel desperate?
Yeah, 100%. Yes, absolutely. And there were many a night I would find myself in fetal positions, just crying my eyes out, going, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. And just, and that was a real turning point for me. I think one of the first turning points for me to really wrap my head around money is energy. And because I was reading all the self-help books and the coaching books, and I got into metaphysical books, and it all had the same message: money is energy. So I developed a mantra of believing of that, something I would say to myself whenever I felt that desperation. And it started with I have money, I have health, I have I have money. I can't remember it now. I have love. Wait, here it is. Here, I got it. I had to get in the mind space. I have love. I have money. I have health. I have success. And it's the I have that changed everything, not a I wish or I will have it. Of course, I wished for a 6-figure income and a nice house and blah, 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 and financial security. But wishing it never got me anywhere. And so it was brought to my attention through these books and some coaching and stuff, like switch that one word. Instead of I wish for, just believe you have it. And it was true. I had the love of my daughter. Yeah. I had 25 cents in my pocket. It wasn't a lot, but I still have money. I had my I have my health. I'm a healthy person. I have success. I have 10 people coming into a 5 a.m. class, later. That was success in that moment. And so I had to get my head wrapped around that. And then things slowly started changing. And there was always desperation because, I had a little girl to feed. I had a studio to support, that kind of stuff. And so it was a constant 24/7 battle
with the self.
Yes.
And the reason I asked you if you felt like a success or failure in that moment is I have interviewed and spoken with many clients of mine and guests of mine who are male. Mm-hmm. And they would find themselves living in an air mattress on the back of, in the back bedroom or just this back room of whatever business they were trying to establish. And from the masculine perspective, it was physical. They were making it happen. And for them, the fail point would come if they weren't making that 6-figure within a certain amount of time. Then they would begin to feel like a failure. And only then would they start to feel desperate.
So I got to tell you something. So when I first started my business, it was part of a fledgling fledgling franchise, and all of the messaging came
under a different name
than what I currently am, and all the messaging came from the top, from a very testosterone driven male leader. And that was the big thing. He promised in all of his marketing for this franchise is, you'll make 6 figures in 3 months with this business model. And it was all about that. Like, that's your success right there. And when after 3 months, I was so far from 6 figures, it took me a little while to get out of that male mindset of this one person that was driving that message to me. It's like, wait a minute, just because I don't make 6 figures yet, it's okay. I'm still figuring this out.
And I'm still a success because now I've got 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 people, and I'm living my gift, and I'm working as this intuitive.
And I'm helping people, I'm changing people's lives, and I'm making a difference. And that's where, and as long as I remembered that I was making a difference, that I moved here, I did this, I am doing this, I'm sleeping on this god-awful air mattress so I can make a difference, then I was okay with not making the 6 figures at that time.
So when you equivocated the emotionality of making a difference with the energy of money coming to you, rather than, I'm not making any money, I'm a fail, or you didn't make it all the dollar amount, when you went back to your center of purpose, then you were able to actually get out there and rock and roll it.
Yes.
And has there been times in your life, have you backslid at all? I mean, did you just continuously become this like John Deere tractor pushing obstacle out of your way, climbing this business mountain? Or did you feel like there were those little, like, did you ever have like the nagging parents in your head or anything like that would remind you of?
Oh yeah. I had, a naggy parent or a well-meaning best friend or whatever who just kept kind of, whether it was conscious or unconscious, just feeding these messages that I didn't have any, you don't know what you're doing. You have no business doing this. Go back to your secure life that you used to have. And it was that was really hard because there was no emotional support.
So what about inside of you? I mean, did you truly believe you're this person? Did you truly believe this? Or, that old saying from the 90s, you fake it till you make it.
So there was a little bit of that, because, when that's all you're told. As a child, but also as an adult, as I'm making this new, this change of career and being told that you have nothing, you don't know what you're doing, you have no business doing it. That's a hard belief system, especially when it was kind of part of my upbringing as well. That's a hard wall to crack through, and I don't know where it comes from, but I should say, this belief in me that I can do that, and I may not know how to do something yet, but I'm going to figure it out. And I'm making a difference, and my gut says this is the road, and we're going to figure it out.
Now I love that. And that's true about you. And I know that about you. And I've watched you over the years, I've watched you over the years come into walls within yourself and struggle, as we all do. Yeah. You've watched me struggle within walls with myself. I mean, we all do that. We're human, right? And you've encountered this, and sometimes, men tend to get mad at the wall. They tend to want to punch a hole through the wall. They want to attack the wall. Women want to cry at the foot of the wall. We want to just sit down and be like, I hate this stupid effing wall. Yeah. And men are like, I want to kill you, effing wall. Come here, wall. And it's a very interesting way that we handle that. And so let's punch a hole through the floor, because I'm being mindful of our time here. And let's punch a hole through the floor and go deep. We're going to drop the deep diving sub into women and what it takes to unblock ourselves or move those blocks out of the way, or those cataclysmic stones that roll in the front of the tomb of self and trap us in there. Because many of you who are listening out there, I know, and many of you who subscribe to this podcast, you're women business owners. You are brilliant. You might be a mom, and which is huge. That's the biggest job there is, being a mom. I've had clients say to me, I'm just a stay-home mom. I'm like, oh, you have the hardest job of everybody. Congratulations.
Yes, 100%.
Most underpaid and most overworked. There it is. So to have this deep feeling of how do we know? Wait, ladies, I know you know your value. Okay. Rebecca, you talked about knowing your value in spite of having a family structure that did not support that value. So I'm going to ask you some deep-seated questions here. Okay. And we're just going to do a bullet point question and a bullet point answer. And we're going to go back and forth and get through as many of these as we can.
All right.
What is your deepest fear regarding your business?
That I'll never make the money I'm worth.
Why do you believe in that fear? And fear, as we know, it's a projection. It's an illusion of our most deep, weirded out piece of self. Why do you think that you wouldn't make the money you're, quote, worth in your business?
Well, that's a question you ask me a lot, and I don't know if I still don't have a full answer to that. I don't know why. There's a fear there that.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. So there's a fear, and this is fascinating because we as women do this, right? That's why I'm putting you in the hot seat. Is that you're afraid you won't make the money, but you don't even know why you're afraid you won't make the money. You don't even know why you won't make the money.
Right. Because I know I'm really good at what I do. And that's not just me talking. That is the feedback I get from my clients.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I've watched people start crying, meeting you in the studio saying, oh, my God, you changed my life. I mean, the information that channels through you, you're a healer, whether it's a workout, whether it's nutrition, whether it's an intuitive session. So you do your part. So again, I'm going to repivot that question because women will tell me this all the time. I'll say, why are you afraid of that? And they'll say, I don't know. So, okay, let me reframe the question. So here's this money that you believe that you could usher through you via your business. Can you feel that money out there anywhere?
Oh, yeah. It's like hovering over me. It's just hovering over there. Yeah.
And do you feel like you are the proper steward to channel that money?
Yes.
Okay. So then I'm going to ask you the question again. What is your biggest fear about your business?
Dead air. It's the weirdest thing. I honestly, I don't have a conscious answer, and I'm sure it's in there. Like, that feels like there's a blocked artery, and I need to get in there with whatever that graph or thing that they shove up your aortic artery and just unplug the
That's better than having them shove it up somewhere else.
No.
I'm just like, where is she going with
I don't know how it happens, but they... Yes.
Shunt.
Thank you. Yes. And they just pop that little balloon and it opens the artery and all of a sudden the blood starts flowing. That's what I need. I need a freaking shunt. Right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can order your money shunt. 1-900 Rebecca Douglas right here. Okay, so let me tell you, I believe in observing the energy around you. As I have observed the same energy around many of we women. Maybe there isn't actually a block. Could it be that you are assuming a block because genetically for thousands of years, women weren't allowed to excel. So the default for women was, oh, that's not mine. Could it be that the block that you feel or are perceiving you feel is something that a cultural hacker has programmed into your DNA, has programmed into your life experience? It doesn't sound like you're for God's sakes, your family really reached up and grabbed a bunch of money. And I mean, your dad, he made a respectable living, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no.
But so would you, since you can't define the block, what if there isn't actually a block?
Okay, so tell me.
So,
a wise one.
What if, and ladies, I'm talking to all of us as I'm talking to Rebecca, okay? What if it's actually not a block?
I wish all those women were with me right now.
I know. But they are. They're listening with you going, that's me too, Rebecca. I can feel it and I can't do it. Shut up, Danielle. You're an asshole. I mean, they're just...
I didn't say it.
So, what if, ladies, and Rebecca, honest to God, I look at you, I can see you, I can see your energy map, and I can tell you there is no official block there. What there may be is a fear of fully owning the absolute authority of your position. And what I mean by that is males will call that owning their power. Ladies, you can call it your power if you want. Yet women, we have been told categorically over millennia that we are not experts, that we don't know what we're talking about. We need to fall back. It is not only in cultural programming, even if you had the cool tree hugger hippie parents ever, we still live in a society where women don't make the same amount of money as men.
Yep.
And men aren't the bad people here. I mean, it takes a whole society to decide on these rules, gang. Okay? So first of all, can we please just stop blaming men for every single thing on the earth? Because we all live here. So come on, people.
Yeah.
This is coming from a lesbian. Let's just all get together and quit blaming, okay? Secondly, Rebecca, I would say in your case, and I think this is the case with many women, would it be more accurate to say that the block is maybe a reticence in owning the full authority of your ability? Because if you do that, then you will be 100% accountable for your original opinions. You'll be 100% accountable for the things you're wrong about. You'll be 100% accountable if something doesn't work out in your program or your name. And women, what is the cardinal sin if you're female in America? If you do not uphold everything for everybody else and you're not perfect, you are replaced. Mm-hmm. In the workplace, in the marriage, you're replaced. You're replaceable. So do you think it's actually that you can't connect with your money, or do you think it's more of a deep fear of connecting with the deepest authority that you have and owning up and being that firewall just in case you're blowing flack?
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. I did not have that any type of role model in any part of my friends or family growing up. So I think that is a road that I still feel like I'm the, there's a term for it in mountain climbing, and used to climb mountains back in the day in Washington. It is post-holing. You are the first person going up that hill in deep snow, and you're making the steps. You're making the path for the people behind you. And I feel like I'm post-holing that route. I don't know what it looks like. So I'm just, I'm blazing that path without a role model, without a female in front of me to show me what that's supposed to look like. And that's probably the block.
There it is. Boom.
Boom. Knuckle fits or whatever. Knuckle bump.
That is the block, honey. That is the block. And ladies, I hope you're listening, because that is our block. There is nobody in front of us. Now, if I ask the same question to a guy, they want to be the guy out front, be in the number one, be in the alpha. What they fear, they don't care. They'll make the path. They are a little worried they'll be found out if they're not really sure of the path, but they'll try the path first. They'll try to gamble the identity of the path maker against actually knowing something. We like to call that masculine ego. They're just better gamblers. They've been taught to be better gamblers. So we're going to switch this. We're going to take it deeper. Bloom. So taking it to the next level of that, Rebecca. Mm-hmm. Now that we've decided that there is not a block between you and your money, you're just a little unsure because, again, as women, we have generally had somebody walking point for us. It could have been a dad or a mom or a husband or a wife, but somebody's out there doing it. And genetically, we're told we walk 5 feet behind, okay? And we're still working through this culturally as much as we want to pretend we're not. First rule of healing is please stop pretending things aren't happening that are happening. We don't have to categorically be drama queens, and ladies, please don't sit in our soup and cry about. I mean, it's good to bring attention to injustices. We absolutely have to bring voices to the voiceless. Absolutely. But once you understand what's going on, so Rebecca, we go to the next level. What if you as a woman addressing women's body shame issues, women's prosperity flow issues, women's nutritional issues, the disempowering of women that happens culturally in ways, and again, I'm not blaming men, women, girls, ladies, we co-created this crap show, okay? So we can't blame everybody for this. We have to change our role in it to make our half of it change. So Rebecca, what would it look like if you began to, again, accept the authority of the charge of being the person who's post-holing on the front? What if universe gave you the instinct, just like that salmon that swims up a clean river out of the salt water to go spawn? It has no idea why it's going up into fresh water. Its skin is peeling off, but it has this unbelievable drive to go this path. It's so weird and it's like genetically killing it, but it's going to do it anyway because that's where it spawns. What if you have a spiritual directive that dictates that you have to be that person up front? Do you then fear that somebody following you will fall into a hole you didn't anticipate? What would be the fear if you're the person in front?
What would be the fear?
Yeah.
That I couldn't maintain that drive, that path.
Here's the best part about being on the front of the path. You set the pace. Mm-hmm. You set the pace.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, that's the masculine coming in for women. That I can't keep it up. And guys can't keep it up either, man. They're dying on the vine going, this is stupid. Who made this pace up? But ladies, we think fellas are great. They'll kind of bluff their way out of pretending like they're keeping the pace up by delegating to a staff of 50, you know? And
I can delegate.
Okay, you're a good delegator.
I can delegate.
So what would be the worst thing in the world if you slowed the pace? What does that mean to you?
Oh. What would the worst thing be?
Yeah, what would be so scary? There is no path. You can't F it up. Because
actually, if I slowed the pace, I'd probably become more fine-tuned in my messaging and how I'm delivering my message and allowing. If I slowed it down, there would be an energetic allowance of people to actually come and join the path, join the line that we're forging.
So
does that make sense?
Yes, you just described inclusion, stewardship, and purpose, which is the definition of the feminine style of leadership, as opposed to the old world masculine style, which is there can only be one path and only one line, and I'm the biggest one out there and the fastest one out there.
Yeah.
So, you are not a man. And our beautiful males are amazing. And I'm going to interview a male on all of this money stuff with the shame that males go through in the whole thing. But it's different than women. So women, stop trying to be our fellas. Our fellas are amazing. And we love you guys. Yet they're the fellas. We don't need to be the fellas in business. So Rebecca, you slow your pace, yet you are consistent out there. And has it occurred to you that if you're the person on point up there, if you're the post holer or whatever it was called,
post holing,
has it occurred to you that if you're out there, you can't mess up because there is no path. You get to pick the path.
That's a good point. Yes, you're right.
Everybody behind you is just trusting you that you've got a path. And if you need to zigzag a little, you can, and the folks will follow you.
Actually, that's a good point. You're right. If there's no path, then there's no wrong answer. There's no wrong way to go.
So, knowing that, how close does your money feel to you now?
Mind blown.
You gave me some really big eyeballs just now.
Yeah, too bad that's not on video.
I know. All I can see, we have these screen pops in front of these big studio microphones, and I just saw these eyes get really big over the top of the screen. Seriously, now that you understand that you're not trying to be a male, our males are wonderful, but that your path is to go at your pace, allow more people to fall in, because you have a better opportunity with each step in that pristine snow. You can survey the landscape better too. You can figure out where you're going. And everything is your design at that point because you are leading people safely at a good pace into their highest well-being and into their own knowledge. Where is your money in your body when you feel that?
Oh, in that respect, I feel it more... I don't know what the name
solar plexus.
Yes, right there. Whereas before it's in the lower body, and that's where a lot of women hold their weight when they're stressed about finances and
is in their lower body.
Yes,
legs,
hips,
thighs,
yes,
hips.
exactly.
That's root chakra. That's home, hearth, and money.
Yes.
So does the money now feel like it's floating in the top of your head now, or does it feel like it's in your body waiting to go somewhere?
So it feels like we've opened a valve, and there's like a bit of a nice little trickle starting to happen.
That's awesome.
How's that?
I think that's good. And you pointed to solar plexus, and the solar plexus chakra is your purpose in the world. Okay. So are you willing then, knowing that this is a pace and a path that is sustainable, are you willing to hold the full authority of your gifts and talents? And that comes with all the highs and lows. It comes with the disapprovals and the approvals. Are you willing to hold that straight line or that curvy line for the sake of those that you can assist that choose to join you? Are you willing to take that on?
Absolutely. Yeah, I am.
So what are you afraid of in your business?
Well, nothing now.
Awesome. All right.
I'm healed. Thank you.
Well, and I asked you to be in the hot seat on this one, Rebecca, because I knew I could ask you some really tough questions about your background, and I could ask you some really tough questions about your own process, and you'd be willing to answer them. Because we as women, ladies, we're also trained to make a ton of excuses so we seem perfect. Because remember, you could get locked in an insane asylum if your husband's not into you anymore. It could be 1812 in your mind. You don't know. So with this knowledge, you do many things, Rebecca.
I do. I do a lot of them.
You do. I mean, you have high vibery, which is a repurposed jewelry line. And, the reason I want to talk about all the things you do is because we as women, in just the few minutes that we have left in the podcast, we as women tend to draw income from many different sources when we are left to our own devices in business planning.
Yeah.
Our male counterparts will be like, I rock this one thing out of the world. Women will be like, well, I got this side gig and this side gig and this side gig and this main job and another side gig over here. And, oh, by the way, I make $400,000 a year. But it's because we love to amalgamate.
Yes, and I love all of that. So I do photography,
ladies,
I do the jewelry, the health and wellness, and we're getting into t-shirt printing.
So, and just give me some brushstrokes on the type of jewelry and the type of clothing, because they both have a commonality in them.
Well, yeah, they're both under the High Vibri name, and they're both repurposed and reimagined, I guess. The jewelry, I break down old stuff, put it back together, and a lot of it is actually custom designed for a specific person. And we even have a line called mantra necklaces, where the person gives us the word or the mantra that is near and dear to them, like grace or hope or strength or whatever it might be. And then I design a necklace around that word for that person. And so there's that. And then
it has the word on it, right?
Yes, it has. Yes, we stamp the word into a part of the jewelry, and there's no two pieces that are exactly the same. And you use pieces of pre-existing jewelry
that's
been cleaned and everything. Yes, and it's made to look new again and unique for that person, for that individual.
And that also takes that jewelry out of landfills, which is awesome.
Exactly, yes. And that was the big thing, because I grew up on Goodwill and thrift stores, and it was a big treasure hunt for me. And I didn't know that at the time. It was what we did because of budgetary concerns, but I really appreciate that now, because I appreciate the the reused and recycled part of our society, because there's a need for that, and we don't want it to go into the landfill. I mean, our landfills are horrible. So the clothing line aspect, we're just branching out into that. We have, for the studio, we have a whole line called our Get Gritty line, which is repurposed tanks and tops and sweatshirts that are gridded up, I guess, for lack of a better word, to kind of give it a gritty, rough edge. And we stamp our logo on it, our hashtag Get Gritty hashtag, to remind ourselves that it takes a little grit sometimes to figure things out in life. And we need grit, ladies. We need grit.
That's true. And, and one of the biggest fillers of landfills is old clothes. So you pick out these beautiful, amazing pieces. I've seen you trick them out. I've seen you deal with different seams and do all kinds of customizing to each piece.
Yeah.
Each piece is specific to whatever size it is because it's like a one-off artwork piece.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Which is really, really neat.
Yep, and I try to work with all sizes for all women. So because we all have some grit in us, and we all need that reminder. And again, just like the jewelry, each piece is unique to that one piece. So there's no two alike. So
that is super cool, and that's under High Vibri. And where do people find that online?
Well, so we're working on our website, essentially the High Vibri website. So we're still building it. We have an Etsy store called High Vibri, which features right now most of my photography, which was my first job. But that's all going under. So we're the funny thing is, as soon as I make my jewelry, it's gone. It's sold.
That's true. It sells immediately. So yes, it does.
It is what it is. So it's on, we do have an Instagram page called High Vibri, which features most of all the jewelry and some of the clothing. So Instagram is High Vibri. Kinesi Coaching Studios is on Instagram for the health and wellness. Again, and then we have Rebecca Douglas Photography as well. And that's a whole nother
That's another piece of art. So if they want to find you for any of this, like say I'm a woman listening and I'm like, God dang it, I want to get gritty. This chick is cool. How can I email you or get a hold of you to talk about sizing or to see different pieces or shirts or whatnot?
So you can message me, private message me, direct message me through Instagram or Facebook. You can also email me at hello@kinesiinfo.com, and that's KINESI info.com. That's probably the best way. You can also call me or text me, 406-850-8459. And if you text me, just give me your name so I don't feel like you're a creeper or something. Because I get a lot of weird stuff sometimes.
I think it's happening with everybody.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So, okay, that's one aspect. And then say I'm a gal listening, or maybe a guy listening, but say I'm somebody listening today and I would like to do a little more work with you independently because you work with private clients.
Yes.
You have with Kinesi Coaching Studios, not only do you have a gorgeous studio in downtown Billings, a neat gritty artsy studio, but you also stream live so people can join you in live workouts.
And I do Zoom coaching through, with people who are not local and might need help with designing a workout program using what they have in their area, whether it's another gym or in-home stuff. But we can Zoom and do nutrition counseling, mindset counseling virtually as well.
Oh, wow. Okay, wait. So let me get my head around that. So I live in Oklahoma. I have a local Y membership, but I'm not sure how to use the stuff, and I'm not sure how to eat. I could schedule an appointment with you and you could structure something for me.
Yes.
Is that an ongoing thing? Is it a one-off? How's that work?
It depends on what you're needing and what your goals are. So if you want to lose 50 pounds, we probably should do it over the next several months as opposed to 1 month. But we have, we've got full-on programs where we meet 2 to 4 times a month and talk, and you go home every week with action items, whether it's movement, nutrition, mindset, whatever we're talking about. Or we also have a very affordable subscription wellness program as well, where it's $47 a month, and we meet once a month, whether it's in person or virtually. And I just help you kind of redirect the path a little bit, give you a couple of action items. You go work on it for the month. We check back in.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so whether it's joining you independently, one-on-one coaching, whether it's becoming a virtual member of Kinesi Wellness Studio and following the workouts and nutrition plan stuff, you are available for that. And where do I find you for that?
So probably the easiest way is, again, texting, calling, or emailing me. So that's hello@kinesiinfo.com. You can also, again, call or text 406-850-8459. You can also hit me up on our website as well, and that's KinesiCoachingStudios.com.
And last but not least, just real quickly, Rebecca, you had a very successful sugar addiction workshop very recently, and you yourself, and this is going to be the subject of another podcast that I want to do with you because we get mind, body, spirit addicted to all kinds of things. But sugar, just in a bullet point, sugar, did you say it was 5 times more addictive than what?
Crack cocaine.
Okay. And it's in everything in our food. Yeah. And so say I'm somebody who's struggling in this area. I know I'm a sugar addict. It's affecting my mood, my well-being, my spiritual flow. I'm an empath. I'm not processing past the corn syrup. Can I get a hold of you for some sort of facilitation?
That's all. Yes, that's all part of what I do for you, and our initial consultation, which is free, our first time meeting, to kind of really identify where you're struggling, what you need help with, whether it's movement, nutrition, sugar addiction, whatever it might, mindset, self-care, consciousness, whatever it might be. We will talk about what you're needing and what's the best way to move forward with you, whether it's a full-on, program where we meet several times a month, or if it's just the affordable subscription. So everything is customizable, and it's what you are willing to invest in time, energy, and money, and in yourself.
And ladies, remember that we tend to put ourselves last, and if we put ourselves first, even to have that weird excuse, we hear this in the old world, well, you can't take care of anybody if you don't take care of yourself. Well, that's not even putting you first. That means that you're a terrible servant. That's a servant mentality. Well, you can't take care of anybody if you can't take care of you. How about, why don't you just take care of you because you should, not because you'll be a crappy caregiver to somebody else. So get better so you're better for these people. So ladies, again, Rebecca Douglas, health and wellness coach, high vibrary CEO, designer of repurposed jewelry and clothes that remind ladies to get gritty, and men too, for God's sakes, but remind people to get gritty, especially women. And the jewelry reminds us that your words have weight. And also, Rebecca, with your wellness coaching and whatnot, do you see, ladies, why I brought on Rebecca? Not only am I very proud of the ethics and the integrity of work and the level of expertise, Rebecca, that you bring into the world. I see how you affect people. And I know I'm your spouse, so of course it sounds like I'm just, praising my spouse. And we should be proud of our spouses. Yet I have watched you change lives. I have watched it. And you changed my life in a lot of ways with physical acumen and with the way that I look at my own body and with the way that I engage myself in order to move my spirit properly. So I wanted to bring you on. And do you notice, everybody, how Rebecca has all these aspects of her business? There's Kinesi Wellness. There is High Vibery. There is Rebecca Douglas Photography. Ladies, hear me as I tag out on this podcast. This is the model under which we do business. We are multitaskers.
Yes, we are.
We take care of the kids. We take care of the family. We get dinner going. We have our job. We are multitaskers. So stop shaming yourselves, ladies, if you're like, I can't find my one direction in my business. We're not supposed to. We're women. We have lots of different things. So, Rebecca, thank you so much for being a guest today.
You are very welcome. This was fun. Thank you.
It was awesome. And I'm going to take this opportunity to just remind everybody that in the coming months, you're going to be able to hear Rebecca and I far more often. We are rebooting our Tequila and Tourmaline podcast. Whoop, whoop. And we're going to be addressing all kinds of things in tequila and tourmaline and batting the ball back and forth. And I will let everybody know when tequila and tourmaline begins to launch. I'm kind of doing some wiggling with Road Angel and some other things right now. So, Rebecca, thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is great. Yeah. And everybody, listen to this a million times, ladies. Make sure you remember, let's take that money from floating on top of your head and bring it into your body. Let's put it in the solar plexus, which is your fulcrum of purpose. You go into the world and you make a difference. And I will see you next podcast.